sun rose over a narrow strait. Hundreds of warships faced each other, waiting for a battle that would decide the fate of civilizations. The Rise and Fall of the Persian Empire, Part 12, The Naval Clash at Salamis. The Persian Empire had crushed Thermopylae, leaving Greek lands trembling beneath Xerxes' boots. Now, the Persian king marched on Athens, his armada shadowing him. Hundreds upon hundreds of ships, manned by countless warriors from every corner of the empire. Standing against them was an uneasy coalition of Greek city-states, historically divided but now united in desperation. Themistocles, the Athenian admiral, understood clearly the next battle would determine whether Greece lived free or fell into chains forever. He chose his battleground carefully, the narrow straits of Salamis, a place where numbers mattered less than skill and courage.
"We must stake everything here,"
Themistocles declared.
"Victory or annihilation. This is the place to decide our future."
Xerxes approached Athens, a city now silent and abandoned by its people. Only a few remained on the Acropolis, choosing death rather than dishonor. Frustrated by their defiance, Xerxes ordered Athens burned. Flames consumed temples, houses, and monuments. It seemed the spirit of Greek resistance might burn away too. Yet, Athens' people had already fled. Guided by Themistocles, they watched their city burn from afar, determined their sacrifice would not be in vain. They had lost their homes, but not their hope. Knowing victory required cunning, Themistocles launched a daring deception. He sent his trusted slave, Sisinus, to Xerxes as a supposed defector. Sisinus whispered false intelligence into Persian ears.
"The Greeks plan to flee. Trap them at Salamis, and victory is yours."
Xerxes took the bait. Confidently, the Persian fleet sailed into Salamis' narrow waters, not realizing they were entering a trap. Themistocles' gamble was working perfectly. As Xerxes' massive fleet anchored near Salamis, Persian sailors grappled with unease. Men from Phoenicia whispered anxiously in their ships. Egyptian mariners adjusted their sails nervously, and Ionian Greeks serving under Persian banners exchanged conflicted glances, caught between duty and sympathy for fellow Greeks. Among these sailors was Artabanus, a Persian officer from Susa, loyal but skeptical. He questioned the wisdom of fighting in confined waters. His concerns were dismissed by commanders, confident in numbers alone. Despite their numbers, a subtle fear crept among the ranks. The confined channel felt more like a trap than an advantage. At dawn, Greek ships erupted forward, cutting through the morning mist. Bronze rams shattered Persian hulls. Trapped and disorganized, Persian ships collided, splintering into wreckage. Persian crews, unfamiliar with close combat at sea, panicked. Greek triremes maneuvered skillfully, driving the enemy vessels into chaos. Xerxes watched from his throne above, stunned as his fleet crumbled before his eyes. Herodotus later described,
"Ships crashed and splintered. Persian strength quickly turned to ruin."
Hours passed. The water turned crimson with Persian blood and debris. Broken ships, lifeless bodies, thousands of lives lost. Xerxes, horrified, ordered retreat. His navy fled, defeated and humiliated. For Persia, the dream of conquering Greece shattered on the rocks of Salamis. As the sun dipped below the horizon, darkness enveloped the waters of Salamis. Greek sailors moved slowly among shattered hulls and floating debris, moans of wounded men and whispers of survivors searching for comrades filled the air. Among the victors, there was no jubilation, only solemnity. Men looked silently toward the distant shores where fires still smoldered in Athens. Across the straits, captains argued bitterly about blame and disgrace, while distant funeral pyres lit by survivors dotted the Persian shore. The Battle of Salamis was a historical crossroads. Persia's momentum was broken. Xerxes' pride crushed. He retreated east, leaving General Mardonius and a diminished force behind. For Greece, it was a turning point. Themistocles' victory inspired unprecedented unity, giving rise to the golden age of Athens and Greek civilization. The Greeks mourned countless dead. Funeral pyres lit the shores for days. Yet from grief arose solidarity. A new sense of unity bound them together. A people determined never again to face conquest and defeat. Themistocles returned to Athens, a hero, yet remained wary, knowing the war wasn't over. As the sun set over the wreckage of Salamis, Xerxes watched the remains of his grand fleet drift lifeless in the water. Victory had seemed inevitable. Now it was gone, swallowed by the straits and scattered among broken hulls. Back in his command tent, Xerxes said nothing. He stared into the fire, eyes unblinking, until at last he spoke, not to his court, but to himself.
This was not the end, only a pause.
He would return to Persia, but he would not forget. Orders were sent. Mardonius would remain with the elite of the army to finish what had begun. As the king's barge slipped back toward Asia, leaving a trail of ash behind it, Xerxes swore to the gods that the world would remember his name. Salamis shifted history's tides. Persian power, though still great, was forever diminished. Xerxes' empire now faced internal turmoil and external challenges that would slowly weaken it. Greece, meanwhile, flourished. Philosophy, democracy, and theater, pillars of Western civilization, blossomed. As historian John Stuart Mill later reflected,
The Battle of Salamis was more significant in human history than any other battle ever fought.
Yet, victory at Salamis did not end the war. General Mardonius remained on Greek soil, determined to fight on. A final clash on land was coming. Plataea, a battle to finally decide the fate of Greece and Persia. The tides at Salamis turned, but the war continued. In the next episode, Plataea, where empires would rise and fall forever. Step into history. Witness the rise and fall only on Tales Lost in Time.